My name is PeeJ, let me not waste your time. Today I'll be showing you how to do the slit scan effect inside of DaVinci Resolve. The slit scan effect is a bit complicated to do, so I did make a macro for it if you're interested in going on my website and getting it at peejent.com, as well as my other products that are there as well. But I will basically show you everything to achieve this effect that you see right here in the viewer over here. All right, let's get started. Start off, I'm going to use the footage from Lukrembo Studio from pixels.com, and we need to download a fuse in order to achieve our effect as well. And so we can go to WeSuckLess.com site. There are a bunch of great fuses and effects you can get, and this one we're going to get the Echo fuse. If you had Reactor, it used to be in Reactor, but now since Reactor is gone for free users, you need to download the Echo fuse off of the WeSuckLess website. You just need to make an account, and once you have an account, you can go to the Echo fuse forum page, and you can go down for the first page, and you can go download the Echo from Denel over here, the version 1.3 right here. So just click this right here and start your download. Back in Resolve, I have my composition here with the video that I chose. It's pretty long, so it's about 14 seconds here, and I'm using a fusion composition. So in order to get a fusion composition, you can go up to the effects panel over here, go over to effects, go over to fusion composition, and then drag that onto your timeline, and then drag it out as long as you want. I already have mine here, so I don't need to do that. Then we can go inside of fusion. So here I already have my clip set up, but first we need to go install our Echo fuse. So what we need to do is double click the numbers at the bottom right over here, go over to path map, then go over to fuses, and then we can right click this and then open up the first fuse filter that we have here, and then we can just drag this over here, and then the file that we downloaded from Denel, we can get it over here and just drag this into here, and then right click and extract it here. And if we go inside that folder, you can see we have the fuse effect in this folder over here. So that's all you need to have, but then you can just get rid of this, and then you can close this, and then you need to restart Resolve in order to fully install the effect so we can get started. If you are not familiar with Fusion, I suggest you go watch a Fusion Basics tutorial, especially by Casey Ferris. He has a bunch of those there. This can be a very Fusion heavy effect, as well as the playback. So if you don't have a good PC either, it will be very hard to play back this effect. I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, and it already takes up 50% of my RAM in order to render this inside of Fusion. And so I use a saver to render it out at the end, but just a warning for you, it will be a pain trying to make this effect and run it at the same time. All right, so to start off, generally right now, I'm working with a 1080 by 1920 clip. And so I want to change my workspace to actually fit the vertical resolution of this viewer. So I can go to workspace, down to layout presets, and then I'm going to go to fusion presets, and then I'm going to go to midflow. And then so I'm going to my viewer on the left side over here, and then I have all my nodes over here on the right side here. This is what the effect looks like here, and then here's my macro for it. What you should have right now is just a solo media out, just like this here. And then we need to add our footage. Then we'll go to our media pool and go find my clip here, which is right in this bin. I want to drag it to our fusion composition here, close our media pool down, and then connect our media in to our media out here. And then you can check the resolution here. Right now it's about a 4K resolution clip, so I'm just going to scale it down, so we're just working with 1080 by 1920. And then so I'm just going to add the scale node here. I can add that, and then connect the media in to the scale node here, and then the scale to the media out over here. Then I'm just going to scale this down by 50%, so I can do the divided by the slash and then 2, and then I could scale it down by half the percentage there, and then you can see we have a much smaller video here. Start off, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and then make some more space. All right, to start off, we're going to add a transform node. So we're going to hit shift space, type in transform. We're going to use the one with the XF at the end. So click that. And we have our first transform node. Next, we're going to add a matte control. So we're going to shift space and also type in matte control here. And let's add that there. Hopefully it connects to the transform node just like this. And if not, just connect the transform node to the matte control just like that. You want it on the yellow input of the matte control here. Next, we're going to add a set domain. So shift space, set domain, and then add that here. And then we're going to add another transform node. So add another transform node here and hit shift enter just to keep our select tool menu up. Then we're also going to add another set domain node, and then shift enter again, and then do one more matte control node there. So we have this setup going on here. Next, we're going to add an auto domain node, and then I'm going to add the echo fuse that we just got. So shift space echo, add that there. And then last thing, I'm going to add a merge. So shift space and then merge, and then make sure we disconnect that from there. And we need to connect the scale to the yellow input of the merge here. We want the green input of the merge to have the echo, and then we're going to add the scale to the transform that's over here. Then we're going to add two more nodes. We're going to add the rectangle node. So shift space a rectangle, and it's going to give us a rectangle mask, and we can just control C and control V that because we're going to add another rectangle. And then we're going to connect the rectangle to the matte control. I'm going to hold down Alt, connect it to the garbage matte. We're also going to do that for the matte controllers over here. Bring that, we're going to hold down Alt and connect that to the garbage matte there. So this is our node structure that it's going to be. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to the rectangle and we're going to put it in our viewer. So I'm going to click this rectangle and hit 1 on my keyboard, and I'm going to hit the viewer button here. So we have two viewers over here, and then we can see what's going on. And what I want to do here is for this rectangle rectangle that's on the bottom, I want that to be our slit. And so I'm going to put this height all the way up to 1, and then I'll put this width, I'm going to bring it down, say just to about 0.001. I'm going to type that 0.001 for the width. This is going to be a very, very small sliver that you can see there. And next thing we're going to do is for this upper rectangle here, we're going to put this height all the way up, and then we're going to add a control to this node. So if you don't know how to add a control, you can just right click the node, go down to edit controls. Then we have this edit control menu pop up, and then we can add a new control. I'm going to call it mask offset, and then make sure we go to slider control, put this on the controls page, and then we can just add this, and it gives us another control in our viewer. And then we're going to pin this rectangle to the inspector because we're going to link it with expressions with this rectangle node. So how are we going to do this? We are going to double click the rectangle that we pinned. That should be the one with the mask offset control. Double click it, we're going to put in the equal sign and then click off, and then it's going to show up this expression. We're going to go between the first parenthesis and the comma, and we're going to pick whip the center of the other rectangle so it has that there. Sometimes it messes up where it gets rid of it, so we're going to Control Z and do it again. I can just pin this again open and make sure we just get it in between those there, and then we just have that rectangle underscore 1 center. Then we're going to type in .x so it gets this certain control for the center there. Click off, and then we're also going to add this mask offset to this. So we're going to put a plus sign and then connect the mask offset to that there. Now let's just rename this so we know what this is. So right now we're going to name this first tool, we're going to name it main slit, then hit OK. So that'll be renamed, and so the expression will also rename to that. And then we'll just leave this rectangle like that. Now we're going to go to the rectangle and put this mask offset at 0.5 like that. So now it's going off to the side, and make sure our width is at 1. Let's go to our main slit, and we're also going to add a control to this. So we're going to right click it, go to edit controls, and then here I'm going to make it a slit width. Go down to the slider control, put this on the controls page, add that here, and then I'm going to also put an expression to this just so it's added to the slit width. Sure we have the cursor in between there, and it there. Then we have that paired to the slit width, and I'm just going to put this for like 0.33 for now. Basically what we want is for this rectangle, basically almost half or inside of this slit over here, we have this in our viewer, and then we need to change the masking mode of this main slit to paint mode. We're going to put that to multiply, and it's going to have this very, very small slit that's over here, which is going to be how we create our slit for our line. Let's actually make this just 0.01, and we have that there. So if we go to our transform, our map control, you can see we just have this slit that's happening. And in order to get the slit that's much more not as detailed, we're going to use the set domain as well, and we're going to put a bunch of expressions on these controls. On the transform, we're going to keep our main slit end over here, so get rid of that rectangle there, and then we're also going to put an expression on this center control. And so we're going to hit this equal sign, click off. Let's pick whip this to the width of this control, and make sure Control Z, make sure it goes back in between that point control there, the width, and we're going to divide this by 2, so /2, and then another parentheses to encompass that. I'm going to put a negative sign in front of the main slit, and then we're going to go outside this parentheses here and then put a plus 0.5. So now it's barely see this here, but it'll always be linked to this width, and it will grow and shrink for how we need it to work. So that'll be nice. Next, we're going to go over to our set domain here. We're going to go to set, and then we're going to click this left and make it equal, and expression this to the width to the center x position here, center dot x. That'll bring this all the way over here to right up against it. Then we need to also use the right expression, put that equal sign, put this here with that. We also want to add the width of this, so pick whip the width of the main slit there. So now it's just isolating this small slice, so it's not rendering out the whole frame. Next, let's go to our second transform here, and guess what we're doing? Another expression. So we're going to do equal sign on the center control. Let's go to the point over here that we need, and we're going to connect this to the width of the main slit, and then we're going to add 0.5 to center it, and then we need to change the edges from canvas to duplicate. So if we take a look at it here, it should be creating this duplicate over here. Sometimes it gets a little weird, so we can go back to the rectangle, and then we lower this mask offset to, instead of 0.5, we do it to like 0.499, and that'll bring back that alpha that's over there. Next, we have our set domain here, so we can look at that, and this is resetting, so it's only rendering this area right here, and we can actually view this area to make sure it's being only one rendered. This one is a little bit we can get to this viewer. So we isolate this one viewer here, and we can go to the menu, go down to region, and then show DOD, and then zoom out a little bit, and then zoom back in, and it should show our DOD. Let's also set the mode to set on the set domain right here. If we go to our map control, you can see the DOD is just rendering in this area. But if we look at our slit, it should just be horizontal lines instead of just more detailed lines before. You can see a little detail here. We just want it to be vertical lines here, so we can just do that with our transform. Basically, we're moving it over to the right with the set domain, and in map control, we're just isolating it, so it's just those horizontal lines. Then we go back to our auto domain, so that'll only render out this slitted area here. And we can actually go back to our transform one over here, copy this same expression, Control C, and then go to the echo, and then to the center control, another expression, and then replace that expression with this same expression here. And then we take a look at it. If we play it back just a little bit, we can see the echo is moving. There needs to be more echoes happening. So what do we need to do? We need to increase this echoes frame up to 45 echo frames, which makes you lag a bit, but that is the way to render out the slit scan. So now it's going to start doing this effect. Sometimes it messes up, but it's still trying to render out on the auto domain. Let's actually put the auto domain behind the echo, and let's see how this works now. There we go. So now we're starting to get that effect. And if we go to our merge and take a look, and it starts rendering our slit scan effect just like this. So with the nice way that we set it up, we can actually let's add a custom tool over here, and we can go to the config, and let's get rid of our point controls here, and let's just only keep, let's just say like our 5 number controls there, and let's also disable the left controls. We only have these controls that are here. We can first go and have our main slit that is paired here. Let's just go and put this on our number 1, so another expression connected to our number 1. Let's replace this back with the number that was there before, so 0.33. And we can also go to the config and go back to our number controls and rename this. So this is going to be slit width. Let's unpin this and go to our rectangle. I'm going to pin this one here, and then we're going to connect the mask offset to our number in 2. So this is going to be expression like that here. This is going to be 0.499. This slit width is actually going to be the slit position. We have our number 2 is just going to be our mask offset. Next one we're going to put is our slit width, and fourth one's going to be the echo amount. We go back to our controls, go to our slit width, which is on our main slit. Let's pin this, go back to our custom tool. Let's put an expression on the width part over here. Remember that number, put that to slit width. We had it at 0.01 before. Then we have the amount of echoes. We're going to go to our echo in this custom tool and link this echo frames to the echo that's over here, and then put the amount of echoes to 45, and then make sure you only put integers in this box over here when we adjust it. Now we can control everything we want with this custom tool here, which is the slit position, the slit width, and the echo. So say we want the position from 0 to 0.5. Let's say if we want to put this at a position of 0.5, we can actually do that. So let's put up our grid so we can actually see where it's going to source from. Slit position going to be 0.5. Hopefully once it renders, it moves this position over to here. We can also increase our slit width. Let's do this to, let's say 0.05, and that'll make our chunks bigger. And so once they're bigger, we can actually lower down our echo amount. Let's just say, let me guess like 25, and technically it'll run faster, but it'll be much bigger slits. And so we just play this back here, and we have our slit scan effect going on like that. I kind of like it at a position of 0.33, and then we don't need to put it all the way back down to a smaller width just for our playback purposes live. But you can see what it's doing. It is positioned correctly right where the pixels are, where they line up, giving us the correct color for our slit scan, which is very nice. But usually this effect is really laggy to play back. So I like to add a saver node, which basically saves this whole sequence out as a pre-render inside of Fusion. So let's connect our merge to the saver here. Let's go to browse and then find a location. I kind of just have a location on my videos file or my projects just for savers. So if you want to do that, go to savers, and then we can right click it here, and let's name a new folder. Let's just gonna name this slit scan tutorial, and then click that here, go over to our slit scan, and then we could name our files running upon. So slit scan. We can keep this as .exr files here, but now we want to go make sure and go to format, go down to channels, and make sure we're only rendering the channels that we want, or these files are going to be super big. And so I'm just going to deselect all these until we get to the top. There is going to be no alpha in our scene, so we don't need it, but we can if we would want. But since there is no alpha that's going to be shown, we can just disable that. Go back to file, and then we can go up to Fusion, go down to render all savers, and it'll render out that sequence into that folder. There's going to be about 350 frames for what I chose here, but this shouldn't take too long, just a couple minutes here. All right, so they take a bit longer since I am recording, but now we can go and shift space, type it in loader, and then that'll open up, and hopefully it'll open up where we saved our sequence. So we can just select our first file, hit open, and then we can view our slit scan through here, and it'll run back very smoothly just like this. But let me just go over basically how this works. So first off, we have a scale node to scale down our footage so it's a much more presentable resolution. Then we go to the transform node, which is slightly moving this off to the side, compensating for the width with our expression here. And then if we go to our map control, you can just see we're slicing out just a small bit of our footage here. This is going to be the size of our slit scan here, done with our mask that we are masking out. Also getting rid of part of the mask with this rectangle over here. And then we can go to our set domain, which we take a look at our domain and definition, which is this dotted line over here. Instead of rendering out this whole area, this amount of pixels, there's just no pixels here, so there's no point in rendering it. But for some reason Resolve is still rendering it, so we need to put a set domain here in order to specify only just render out in this area. That's only the area that's important. That just helps out with playback here. Next we have our transform node, and actually this set domain helps out with our transform because we need to define this area as an edge, or this is the edge of basically our screen, but we can't crop it because we also need this area to make more pixels, which we are doing with the transform here with its expressions. With the duplicated edges effect, it is basically taking whatever pixel is on the edge right here, and once it's being transformed and moved over, it is also duplicating whatever pixel is on the side and bringing that all the way left, and doesn't do it on the other side because the set domain on the other side is just transparent pixels, so it's doing duplicating transparent pixels on the other side. And so we just take a look over here and we scroll out. You can see if we can go all the way out over here, it's actually rendering this whole area of 1,000,000 square pixels, so we don't really need that. So we add another set domain here, which hopefully brings it down as well. Go to set, and now it just brings that area down just like this. And next we go to the map control again, as we just move this over, and we're making sure that these pixels are the ones that are being duplicated because that's the same one going to be duplicated on our edge. We have our map control here, which is just isolating out that area that is just straight duplicated pixels that are horizontal instead of just having a area like this. And now with that information, it's just echoing that area, our expressions here, with the moving the center over to the left, basically moving that by a set amount of pixels, which is just the same amount as our width, fortunately. And so we have this nice block over here. The main reason that we have this expression for our mask offset, because if we have this actually at 0.5, there is a slight bit of a gap here, which is really dumb, but so we just need to offset that by just a small amount there. And then lastly, we auto domain this, so it's only rendering out and focusing on this area, so we can merge this back on top, and then we have the rest of our footage that is merged beneath it. So hopefully that's making a little bit sense here. Last thing we're rendering out this into a saver because it's really bad on playback, and so we can just view this slit scan on our loader, and look, it runs back super smoothly without even having to worry about all that. Random shout out as well, as there is a product I did buy that makes this loader and saver process much easier. It is called Instant Saver by Anolator. We take a look at this. He has a nice instant saver, which is pretty cheap, just $10 here. But I use this all the time in order to just render out stuff to be a lot more quicker, especially with all these new time effects that are coming out, because it's a pain in the butt. So Instant Saver is very nice. It makes loader and saver very nicely, and it makes its own folder wherever you save it, and make sure it doesn't render over any files that are already made. So we just put this slit scan effect to our media out, then go back to the edit page, and then we have it there as well. So very nice. Now just a reminder, I did make this into a macro, so if you want to go and get that very easily, you don't have to go through this whole process of how to make it. And then it also has some other features as well, as in changing the angle and then extending the edge in order to compensate for that angle. So if you want to get that, you can get that on my shop at PeeJent.com for a bit of a small price. You just have to go and download the Echo Fuse as well. But yeah, if you're also interested in getting my All Effects pack, which brings most of the AE tools to DaVinci Resolve, you can go check that out there. If you're interested in doing some more warpy effects, check out my time-lapse tutorial, as it might be up your alley as well. All right, subscribe and have a good day.